August 25th, 2017. Welcome to the Philly Podcast. And last night, we got the final look before the season of how this Eagles team will shape up. And here are my takeaways. Wentz looked good throwing the football. That's the big positive. Um, he threw a bomb to Torrey Smith for the very first touchdown. When the ball in one of the other drives, the drive that ended up to be a touchdown to Alshon Jeffrey, he looked very poised throwing the football in that possession. I mean, one little flaw was the interception where he threw the ball and it was tipped. But I think that was on Doug. I mean, that's a first down. You're throwing the ball. There's nobody in the backfield. So, I mean, obviously he's throwing the football. So, that's on Doug. I mean, you got to run the ball on first down, especially if you're trying to see your running backs and Wendell Smallwood, who hasn't been playing in the entire preseason, which I didn't get at all. I think his play calling is awful. I think he should hand those rights over to Frank Reich. So, but other than that, I think Wentz looked very good throwing the football. I think if it did, I also like how he deals with the pressure too. He has guys trying to tackle him, and he's throwing the guy open. I think he threw the pass to, I want to say, he's Ertz or Trey Bird, one of the tight ends. Like he was getting a lot of pressure. He's about to fall. He throws the football to either Trey Burton, like sort of like a screen pass at the line of scrimmage. He bolts for a first down. I mean, that's just I see a lot of Aaron Rodgers. I'm not trying to compare Carson Wentz to Aaron Rodgers, but he shows a lot of characteristics as Aaron Rodgers. He is no way, shape, or form Aaron Rodgers as of right now, but he's the way he deals with pressure, the way he buys time, the way he moves. There is a lot of Aaron Rodgers in him. And now, the bad. In terms of the offense, the bad, the offensive line. They played like garbage. They need a smack in the ass. We all know that they can do a lot better. They can do a lot better. The second team offense drove down the field with Matt McGloin. That offensive line, this Eagles' second team offensive line, blocked better than the Eagles' first team. Shit, of course, but they blocked. Second team offensive line blocked the Miami first team defense. They did a better job. They need a smack in the ass. I am telling you that right now. They need a smack in the ass, and I am in a big advocate to start Steven Wisniewski at the center instead of Jason Peters. I mean, Jason Peters has not been playing very good in the preseason, so I rather start Steven Wisniewski as a starting center over Kelsey. The interior line's not is where the problem is, and that's why Blunt is having so many issues. That's why the running backs are having issues running the ball. He did have a very good scamper for like 16 yards. They created a hole for him. He went through the hole. That's how you need LeGarrette Blunt. That's how you should use LeGarrette Blunt. So the defense, on the other hand, Darby, he had a little bit of a learning experience. I know he's 2 years in the league, but He went up for that ball too early, and he paid the price. But he'll get there. He'll get there. Darby, he's still he'll be fine. It's still preseason. The run defense looked pretty good. I mean, other than a couple big runs by Ajayi and 2 touchdowns at the goal line. They didn't have Graham. They didn't have Hicks. I'm okay with the defense. I feel confident with the defense for week 1. I feel confident Wentz. I feel confident in the running backs, but the thing with that is actually, let me rephrase it. I don't really feel confident in the running backs because of the offensive line, and that's the one thing that I'm I'm not very concerned, but that bothers me because you can have Ryan Kerrigan torture you. I mean, he's torched his team before. I know he went out. I know he absolutely destroyed Matt Tobin, but he can get you. He can really get you. So Chris is up. What's up, Chris? I'll see you today. Peters is too old. Peters is still good though. I mean, that's the thing. Chris said Peters is too old. I mean, Peters is still good. I mean, he's been showing in the last couple of years that, I mean, obviously in 2015, he got hurt, but last year he looked very good. What running backs do you think they'll Clement? I think they'll keep Smallwood. I think they'll Clement, Smallwood, maybe Byron Marshall as a fourth. I don't think they'll keep 4 running backs because they still have to throw in Darren Sproles. So if they were to cut somebody, I'd say probably Byron Marshall. And also, I am fully convinced that Michael Kendricks is playing for a trade. I am just fully convinced that Michael Kendricks is playing for a trade. I mean, that guy's been playing balls out. I'd rather have him for the season. He has a little bit of motivation on his side. He plays great. You trade him, you get a very good player in return. Or a draft pick. Draft pick would be nice. Big fight tomorrow night. McGregor Mayweather. I want to bring that up for a couple of seconds. I'm not a big boxing guy. I don't really know much about the sport. I don't really know much about the UFC. I don't really know much about the WWE. I did a little research about this fight. And, I mean, I think the odds... I mean, I want McGregor to win. I think, I said before, I think McGregor might win. That's kind of changed. I mean, look, you have a guy, Mayweather, who he's going up against. He's a fighter. I mean, he beat Pacquiao a couple years ago. He's a very good fighter. The odds are now for me towards Mayweather. I want McGregor to win, but I think Mayweather has it. I cannot stand Floyd Mayweather. Punk, I think he's a scrub. I think he's a thug. I want McGregor to, as the shirts say, fuck him up. Do I think that might happen? The chances of that are pretty slim. But that's tomorrow night. I'm not gonna pay for the pay-per-view. I'm not gonna watch. I don't think I'm gonna watch it. But I even know, that's $100 down the drain. I'd rather spend that on an Eagles game or something like that instead of a fight. So I mean, as I like to say, we'll see where that goes. All right. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, back to the Eagles. I was very, I'm pretty. I don't know where I am right now. Going in now, I feel pretty confident about week 1, but that really bothers me. It's just bothering me. We had to stop. I think the defense might have some issues, but we'll see. I mean, we got a good. There's a good 2 weeks to fix everything. See where it goes from there. I mean, I'm glad that they're using Blunt better. I'm glad they're trying to use Blunt in the way that we want him to be used, running up and down. I'm glad that Smallwood's back. He looked pretty good. I know the numbers don't say it, but I think he looked pretty good. Jeffrey looked good. Smith, I think he's only had 1 catch. That was a 50-yard touchdown. I mean, it just looks great. Matt Collins continues to impress. I think he should definitely start in the slot over Aguilar. I definitely think so. He's the better player. He is the better player. He is the better player. I think he's going to outperform. I think he's going to outperform this season. I really do. It's actually kind of a cool ad for Fox College Football. Tell you what, I mean, that actually starts tomorrow. College football starts tomorrow. It's just probably some stupid game that's happening tomorrow. Like I don't know who's playing, but I think Stanford plays this weekend. Stanford might be playing this weekend. Let me see. There's usually one decent team plays. Oh, Stanford plays tomorrow, 10 o'clock against Rice. I think they're coming into the season ranked. Yeah, they're going to be a good team. Stanford's going to be a very good football team this year. I'm going to tell you that right now. I hope they beat USC. I cannot stand all the hype around Sam Darnold. I mean, seriously, you don't know. I mean, I don't think he's that good. I really don't. I think USC is very overrated right now. I just think they are. They don't have Smith Schuster. They don't have a Dory Jackson. I mean, I don't think they're really that good. I really don't. I mean, let's go back to the AP rankings. Alabama top first. Okay. So you have Alabama, who's always number 1. I mean, that's Alabama. I think Florida State's going to give them a good game. But I think they're obviously going to pull away. They're obviously, Saban's just too good. They're just too good of a football team. Ohio State, number 2. Number 3. USC, number 4. That is too high for USC. That's all the quarterback. That is all the quarterback. Clemson, 5. Penn State should probably be higher. I mean, I think Penn State, I think the odds are for them this year. I mean, look, they're going to have to win. They're going to have to win. Let's look at their schedule. Because I know they play a road game in Columbus, and I know they play a home game against Michigan. All right, so look at this. They're going to obviously have to go undefeated. I mean, they play a tough game at Iowa. That's a tough game. I think the first 3 games are probably walk in the park. You playing Pitt at home, playing Georgia State at home. That's 3 wins. Then you go to play Iowa week 4. That's a tough game that you're gonna have to win. That's your Big Ten opener. 5, you play Indiana. I mean, that's probably a win. I mean, you're playing at home. 6, Northwestern win. Then you have to. Then you're going through a tough stretch. You're at Michigan. You're playing home against Michigan. Tough game. At Ohio State. At Michigan State. That's a tough stretch. That is a tough stretch. If Penn State has to win. I mean, I think they'll probably go undefeated. Other than those three, I mean, they'll probably go undefeated. Like, I'll put a stamp on the Iowa game is tough. The Michigan game's tough. The Ohio State game, I'll even throw in the at Michigan State game. That's going to be pretty tough. If they win all 4 of those games, I think, and the Big Ten champ, they deserve the number 1 or the number 2 in the playoff, going into the playoff. I say if they are 1 loss, I think they deserve to go in the playoff. I mean, if that loss comes to Ohio State, they just and they ended up. I mean, if they are a 1-loss team and a conference champ, they deserve to go. They definitely deserve to go. That's what held them up last year. What held up Penn State last year was 2 losses. I got into an argument with my buddy Joey yesterday. What held them up was the 2 losses against Pitt and Michigan. That's what held them up. The committee, what they showed last year, they looked. I mean, I think strength of schedule had a little bit to play, had a little bit to do with it, but it showed that would rather take the 1-loss team that ended up winning the Pac-12 Washington. They ended up taking the 1-loss Washington team that was the Pac-12 champ instead of the 2-loss Penn State team champ. That's what it showed. The Penn State win bigger games, sure, but it's about it. As the committee showed, it's about the wins and the losses. Penn State has to win the big games. Penn State has to have I mean, obviously, they have to win the bigger games, but they have to win. If they can't lose shitty games. If they didn't lose to Pitt, if they beat Pitt, I'd have them in. I'd have them in. State in if they didn't. I mean, if they lost, I mean, seriously, the Michigan thing wouldn't really matter. I think they should have been in if they lost, if they hadn't. 3 games against Michigan, Ohio State, Michigan State. It's a walk in the park against Rutgers at home. It's nothing. And they're playing him against Nebraska. They'll probably win that. Down at Maryland, they'll win. So I'd put a mark on Iowa, Michigan, Ohio State, Michigan State for Penn State this year. I think they're a very good team. As much as I cannot stand them, I think I really do. I mean, they got a very good running back. I mean, it's just the same old characters as last year. The big question is how Franklin's going to coach. Is he going to put it back in the hands of Trace McSorley again this year? If he does, then they're going to do something special. I'm going to tell you, they're going to. They might do back-to-back Big Ten. They're going to probably get the playoff. We'll see. I mean, to become a Heisman candidate. I'm just telling you that right now. He is set to become a Heisman candidate. Mark my words. He is set a Heisman candidate. He has to produce now. I'm calling 3 big games to start. We'll see what they do against Iowa. And there we go. I mean, that we'll see. We will see. All right, a little baseball right now. Oh my God, the Phillies suck. I mean, the team is just terrible. Now, Hoskins has been showing me something. He has been showing me that he can obviously hit in the big leagues. I mean, hitting home runs. Uh, Colin Cowherd just said something pretty big. We're gonna listen to this.
The Wentz plays the Dallas Cowboys twice a year, the New York Giants twice a year. In the NFC, bigger markets, bigger ratings than the AFC. When I watch Carson Wentz play and I watch him,
I just want to hear this.
I saw it. You see it. Arms, leg, talent, toughness, confidence, 40 on his wonder leg. There's a calmness and an it. Listen, the NFL is as good as its quarterback play. When the Montanas and the Aikmans and the Steve Young, Marino Elway all in a few-year stretch leave, the NFL dips. I like the young quarterbacks coming up. I like Dak. I'm not even counting Luck, Russell Wilson. They're established. I'm talking James.
All right, he said he liked Dak on here. All right, so he's pretty much saying that he likes young quarterbacks. Okay, Kyle, I get it. I get it. But back to the Phillies, to that little moment. I thought he would say something pretty big. Hoskins is playing really well. I think he's on pace to hit 20 home runs this season. I think he's definitely on pace to hit 20 home runs. I mean, he might even hit 20 plus. I mean, I'm just telling you that right now. He's been hitting a home run a day as of right now. I mean, he's learned to hit Citizens Bank Park. He's learned to hit, big league pitching. He's really adapted to it very well. I see the next Howard Utley in the lineup, or Utley Howard is Williams Hoskins. I mean, I'm just telling you, it's gonna be Williams Hoskins as the next 3-4 in the lineup. So, yeah, I'm gonna be at the game tonight. It's gonna be very fun to see the Phillies play the defending champ. Seeing the Phillies. Let me say that again. Seeing the Phillies play the defending champion Chicago Cubs. I think if I said that to somebody that is a lifelong Cubs fan that's much older than me, they probably break into tears. Defending champion Chicago Cubs. Wow. Hopefully pretty soon we get to hear someone say that about the Eagles, defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. That would be great. That would be just so great. Well, I mean, hopefully it'll happen soon. I think it might. I think it might probably do it. Young quarterback. Mm-hmm. Tell you what, though, I think there is a rivalry, a new. Like I said before, I think with the Eagles, there is going to be. I think the Dallas rivalry is going to hit a brand new standard. I think it's going to hit a new level. Here's why. I mean, you got two young quarterbacks. Who are very good. I think it's going to hit a new standard this year. I don't know. I just wanted to bring that up. I think it's going to hit a new standard. We play them on November 19th. That's a Sunday night football game. I hope we go down there and we just shit on them. I really do. And we play them on New Year's Eve. Excuse me. We play them on New Year's Eve. That's gonna be a fun game. If it means something. I mean, who knows? It could mean Dallas trying to get a playoff spot, which the lane. I mean, hopefully at that point in the year, I'm a little. I mean, hopefully if we are a playoff team and we clinch a playoff spot, and Dallas is trying to get in the playoffs on December 31st, and they have to go through the link to try and get through the playoffs, I highly doubt that would happen. I think the Eagles would throw the kitchen sink, kind of like what the Giants did against the Redskins last year. The Giants had already clinched the playoff spot. They wanted to get ready. They went down to Washington to play the Redskins, who were trying to get in the playoffs. They were like, They beat them 16-10, 17-10 around, something like that. I hope that's the case. I hope we spoil Dallas just like we did in 08, where we beat them 44-6. 44-6, the last game at the Link. If you guys remember that, the last game at the Link, the Eagles and the Cowboys are both trying to get in the playoffs. It was kind of like 2013, where it goes down to the last game of the season, and it's the Eagles and the Cowboys trying to compete for a playoff spot. The Eagles showed up. The Eagles are great against the Cowboys when it comes to the playoffs. When it comes to do or die, I think I can only think of one game where the Eagles choked in the playoffs against the Cowboys. Other than that, that's it. In the playoffs, the Eagles were very good against the Cowboys. So I really think that the rivalry is going to heat up. It's the new Brady Manning, except it's with two teams that have been rivals for years. Years. I can't wait till that game. I'm going to probably be coming home from Notre Dame on November 18th and 19th. But it's gonna be a fun game to watch on television. I'm telling you that right. Or I'm gonna have to download NFL Game Pass to watch that. But still, it's gonna be a fun game. It's gonna be a very fun game, November 19th against the Cowboys. Sunday Night Football down at Jerry World. I hope we just run all over there. I just really do. I hope we run all over Jerry World. Maybe pull a little Terrell Owens. Just. Maybe I hope Lane Johnson just after a touchdown or somebody just runs over like a big dude and pretends to take a shit on the star. That would be so funny. It'd probably be a fine or unsportsmanlike or something. But I hope someone just runs over to the star and just pretends to just drop one. So Lane Johnson, I feel like Lane Johnson's different. Back to, I want to talk about Lane Johnson for a second. Lane Johnson, what he's been saying about, we're going to kick their ass and everything. I feel like that's a little different than, he's like, I feel like he wants to go down there and win. Like, it's not like when Vince Young did the Dream Team, we're going to be a Dream Team. I mean, in a way it is, but like, it shows that Lane Johnson's kind of motivated because he wants to go down and kick some ass. It feels like I feel like he wants to do something. He wants to do something. I really like what I hope he shows up. I mean, the line has, but I mean, I hope makes the line very good. I mean, the line hasn't been playing great lately. I mean, they've been playing like shit. So 12:30. 12:30. What else is up today? We're about a solid week away from the best from college football. That's very true. We were a solid week away from college football. Tell you what, man, I really can't wait. I really can't wait. I love college football. I love the pros too. But college, there's something to college football. I mean, seriously, there's something to college football. Maybe it's like the games. I feel like the quarterback's a lot more mobile. The games are, I mean, they have the biggest stadiums. Student section, I mean, I'll tell you what, there's more of a home field advantage in college football than any other sport. I mean, it's very hard if you're an away college football team go into some of these environments and win. It's very tough in college football. It is. It is very hard. Like, you look at Clemson, you look at Florida State, you look at all these other places. I'll I mean, Penn State has a distinct advantage, has a bigger advantage, in my opinion, than all these other schools because Penn State has the second stadium in all of football. And pros, they have the second biggest stadium. Beaver Stadium is huge. That's why they beat Ohio State last year. They had the second biggest stadium in college football. Ohio State is a very good road team. They cannot win there. In that game, they couldn't. Penn State is going to use that to their advantage this year. I'm going to tell you that right now. They're going to use that to their. They should. They have to. They want. They're going to have to. I mean, I'm glad that they put a jumbotron and everything in Notre Dame because they want to. Because for Notre Dame, whenever I watch a game on television and from what I heard, it's not really much of a hostile environment. It's not like a lot of the other college campuses. It's there for the tradition. We'll go out and see a game. A bunch of these old guys, like old country club owners and stuff like that, old alumni who are just rich or they think their shit doesn't smell. There for the tradition and the history and everything. I mean, sure, you can put in all the tradition and history you want. At the end of the day, the place has to be freaking rocking and tough for the opponent, which it hasn't been. And when I feel like I feel like whenever Notre Dame scores a touchdown, they go half-ass. It's like, yeah, school. There's a touchdown at the link. I mean, the place is on them. Or at, Penn State or Clemson. The place is about to explode. That's what I want. I want to see a lot more at Notre Dame in terms of the crowd and everything. I really do. A home field advantage is vital. It's vital. It is big. I mean, it's big. It's very big. They're talking, and if Mayweather loses, it's going to really mess up his career. I mean, yeah, it probably will. Probably will mess up his career. I mean, here's a guy that is fighting against a UFC guy who's pretty much won some very big fights, and if he doesn't win, I mean, it's not going to be good for him. Good for him. It really won't. Oh, 12:34 now. Trying to think. Next week, we'll be recapping the fight on Monday. We'll be talking about the fight. We'll be talking Eagles as the season as we approach towards the season. Eagles Jets will only Jets in the final preseason game next week. That's that. I mean, we'll obviously talk about some big things about that if there's any, because it's, as Merle Reese said, it's the who's that guy bowl. Yeah. So that's that. We'll be previewing college football as the week goes on, because it's obviously a big week. I mean, the college football season is going to be starting pretty very soon. That starts, obviously this week. There's a couple little shit, but next week is the big weekend where all the teams will, all of the teams will play. Come next week. We'll be previewing some of the big games. Alabama, Florida State, Michigan, Florida. two biggest, in my opinion. That's going to be two very big football games. We'll also be previewing Penn State. Who they're playing again? I forget. Akron, Penn State, Akron. So we'll be previewing that as next week. So I don't really know what time. I mean, all the podcasts are going to be at different times next week because there's a couple things going on here. And then after next week or day, we will be starting podcast at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock. Mark, just make note of that, 4 o'clock, as, school begins and everything, which is just, I cannot believe it's starting because, it's just crazy. I mean, the summer always flies by. The summer always flies by. At like everything. I mean, the school year's flying. The school year's gonna fly. I mean, pretty soon. It's gonna feel like in 1 minute here, August 25th, 2000. Previewing next year. I mean, that's just gonna be crazy. I mean, every year just keeps going faster and faster and faster and faster. I mean, it just goes nuts. So that's the deal. And then obviously in 2 weeks when we shift to 4 o'clock, we'll be previewing Eagles. I might do an Eagles. Listen, I might do. If you want to get an Eagles preview and recap, that will be two separate videos. I will be. I might do a preview, a pregame, a postgame, an overall recap. So the preview video, I mean, they'll be separate. So I guess the preview will probably be on Wednesday. The pregame will obviously be before the game. The postgame will be after the game. And then the recap will probably be on the Monday following. The Monday or the day after the game. So that's probably how it's going to go. So, yeah, all right. So thanks for tuning in. Later, and have a good weekend.